The banishment dust burns against Sarah's lips like crushed glass mixed with fire. Elder Corvus forces her jaw open wider, his gnarled fingers digging into her cheeks as he tilts the obsidian vial, and she feels the silvery powder cascade onto her tongue. It tastes like ash and forgotten things, like the space between stars where no light has ever touched. Her wolf whimpers inside her chest, a sound so small and terrified that Sarah wants to weep. But she cannot weep, because the entire Moonfire pack watches from the amphitheater steps, their faces carved from judgment and disgust. "Swallow it," Corvus, his voice echoing across the stone basin where they've chained her to the judgment post. "Let the dust settle in your skull, traitor. Let it erase you from our memories as you tried to erase our future." Sarah swallows. The dust scrapes down her throat, and somewhere in the back of her mind, she feels something fundamental begin to unravel. Her name, her face, the shape of her laughter, and the way she hums while braiding her daughter's hair, all of it starting to fray at the edges like smoke dissipating in wind. "Mama?" The small voice cuts through the ceremonial silence, and Sarah's heart shatters. Her daughter, Lyric, pushes through the crowd, her tiny 7-year-old frame dwarfed by the adult wolves surrounding her. "Mama, what are they doing to you?" "Take the child away," Alpha Draven from his throne carved into the mountainside. He doesn't look at Sarah. He hasn't looked at her since the moment his mate Vexana accused her of poisoning the sacred moonwell, of cursing the pack's fertility, of being the reason 3 she-wolves lost their pups this spring. She'll forget her mother soon enough. They all will. Vexana stands beside her mate, her hand possessively gripping his arm, her lips curved in a smile that doesn't reach her cold amber eyes. She's beautiful, in the way that winter is beautiful, all sharp edges and killing frost. "The child should witness what happens to wolves who betray their pack," Vexana says. "It's a valuable lesson." 2 enforcers grab Lyric, and her scream pierces Sarah's chest like silver. "No! Let me go! That's my mama! She didn't do anything wrong!" "Hush now, little one." That's Beta Kale, his voice gentler than the others, and Sarah catches his eye for just a moment. She sees something there, a flicker of doubt, of question, but it vanishes as quickly as it appeared. Kale has known her since they were children, has watched her grow from a gangly Omega into a healer respected by the entire pack. Or she was respected, before Vexana came, before everything changed. The dust continues its work inside her skull. Sarah feels it settling into the crevices of her brain like snow filling a footprint, erasing evidence that she was ever here. Her knees buckle, and the chains rattle against the judgment post. She tastes copper and realizes she's bitten through her lip. "The banishment dust will complete its work within 3 hours, Corvus to the assembled pack. "By nightfall, none of you will remember Sarah Moonwhisper. Her name will be ash on your tongues. Her face will be fog in your mind's eye. You'll walk past the healer's cottage and wonder why it stands empty. You'll see the child and know only that she's an orphan in need of care, not whose daughter she is." "And what of me?" Sarah, finding her voice though it comes out broken. "What happens to my memories?" Corvus, and it's a terrible thing. "You'll remember everything. You'll remember being loved, being trusted, having a home and a daughter and a purpose. You'll remember it all as the dust carries you beyond our borders, where you'll wander as a nameless ghost. You'll speak to strangers of your life and they won't hear you. You'll see your reflection and recognize yourself, but mirrors will show only shadow. You are being unmade, Sarah Moon Whisper, one memory at a time, from everyone but yourself. The cruelty of it steals Sarah's breath. She'll lose Lyric not through death, but through erasure, through becoming a mother that no child remembers having. She'll fade from her daughter's mind like morning mist, and Lyric will grow up with a hole in her heart, shaped like maternal love, but no name to put to the ache. Please. Sarah looks directly at Draven, the alpha she served faithfully for 12 years, the alpha whose son she helped birth when complications nearly killed both him and his first mate. Please, Alpha. I've done nothing wrong. I swear on my wolf's soul, I didn't poison the moonwell. I would never harm this pack. My healing gifts come from the moon herself. I've saved dozens of lives. Doesn't that count for anything? Draven finally meets her gaze, and what she sees there is worse than hatred. It's indifference. The evidence speaks louder than your oaths. Luna Vexana found nightshade in your cottage, the same nightshade that contaminated our sacred waters. Your healing journal contained recipes for fertility curses. You had motive, means, and opportunity. Those aren't mine! Sarah's voice cracks. I would never write such things. Someone planted them. Someone is framing me. Who? Vexana's voice drips false sympathy. You're suggesting someone in our pack would commit such heinous acts and then blame an innocent Omega? How paranoid. How delusional. She turns to the crowd, her performance flawless. This is what happens when jealousy festers. Sarah has always been envious of true-born females, of those of us blessed by the goddess with beauty and status. She couldn't bear to see us thrive, so she struck at the very heart of our futures. Our children. The crowd murmurs, the sound building like distant thunder. Sarah sees faces she's known her entire life, wolves she's healed and counseled and comforted, and in every eye there's that same cold certainty of her guilt. Not one voice rises in her defense, except one. This is wrong! The voice comes from the back of the amphitheater and heads turn. Sarah's heart lurches because she recognizes that voice, though she hasn't heard it in nearly 3 years. Alpha Kieran Shadowfang steps into the torchlight, and the very air seems to thicken around him. He's taller than she remembers, broader through the shoulders, and there's a hardness to his features that wasn't there when he left the Moonfire Pack to forge his own territory in the northern mountains. His eyes are storm gray, the color of thunderclouds before lightning strikes, and right now, they're fixed on Sarah with an intensity that makes her wolf stir, despite the dust poisoning her system. Alpha Kieran, Draven's tone is carefully neutral. This is an internal pack matter. Your presence, while always welcome, is not required. I'm making it my matter. Kieran descends the stone steps with predatory grace, and Sarah notices that several wolves follow him. His own pack, she realizes. The Shadowfang wolves are battle-hardened and fierce, their loyalty to their alpha evident in every movement. I arrived at your borders an hour ago, seeking to negotiate a trade alliance. Instead, I find you performing a banishment ritual on your pack's healer based on circumstantial evidence and the word of a Luna who's been here less than a season. Vexana's smile turns sharp. Are you questioning my honor, Alpha Kieran? I'm questioning your timing. Kieran stops at the base of the judgment post, his gaze never leaving Sarah. 3 months ago, the Moonfire Pack was thriving. Your moonwell was pure, your she-wolves fertile, your healer respected. Then you arrive, Luna Vexana, and within weeks the moonwell is poisoned, pups are lost, and the healer is accused of crimes that contradict everything she's ever stood for. Curious, isn't it? How dare you? Vexana starts, but Draven raises his hand. Alpha Kieran, I understand your skepticism, but the evidence is clear. The nightshade was found in Sarah's cottage. The cursed texts were in her own handwriting. Was the cottage searched before or after you suspected her? Kieran asks, his tone deceptively mild. Draven hesitates. After? And who conducted the search? I did, Vexana says proudly. As Luna, it's my duty to root out threats to my pack. Kieran nods slowly, and Sarah sees something dangerous flash in his eyes. So the accuser discovered the evidence. How convenient. He turns his attention to Corvus. Elder, the banishment dust takes 3 hours to complete its work, correct? That's correct, Alpha Kieran, but I must warn you, any attempt to interfere with a sanctioned banishment ritual is grounds for war between packs. I'm not interfering. I'm purchasing. Kieran's words drop like stones into still water. According to ancient law, any wolf sentenced to banishment can be claimed by another alpha before the dust completes its work. The claiming nullifies the banishment and transfers jurisdiction to the claiming alpha's pack. Sarah's heart stops. The claiming right. She'd forgotten about that archaic law, one so old it's rarely invoked because it requires an alpha to take full responsibility for the accused, to vouch for their innocence before the goddess herself. If Kieran claims her and she's later proven guilty, his entire pack suffers the consequences. You can't be serious, Draven says, his composure finally cracking. You'd risk your pack standing for an Omega you barely know? I know enough. Kieran's gaze finally shifts from Sarah to Draven, and the temperature seems to drop 10 degrees. I know that 3 years ago, before I left to forge my own territory, Sarah Moonwhisper healed my sister when every other healer had given up hope. My sister had been mauled by a rogue, her wolf shredded beyond what anyone thought could be repaired. Sarah sat with her for 4 days straight, pouring her own life force into the healing, nearly dying in the process. She asked for no payment, no acknowledgement, no debt. She did it because saving lives is who she is. His voice drops to something lethal. So yes, Draven, I know her well enough to know these charges are wolf shit. Vexana laughs, the sound brittle. How touching! The mighty Alpha Kieran, savior of sad Omegas. But claiming rights require a formal challenge, which means combat. Are you prepared to fight my mate for the right to steal his convicted criminal? Vexana, Draven warns, but his mate ignores him. Kieran smiles, and it's all teeth. I'll fight anyone who stands between me and justice, including you, Luna, if you're brave enough to back up your poisonous words with claws. The crowd gasps. Challenging a Luna directly is a grave insult, one that can only be answered with blood. Vexana's face flushes with rage, but before she can respond, Draven steps forward. Enough. If you wish to invoke claiming rights, Alpha Kieran, then state your formal intent. Kieran turns back to Sarah, and for a moment, just a moment, she sees something in his eyes that makes her breath catch. It's not pity. It's not even the loyalty of a debt being repaid. It's something fiercer. Something that makes her wolf lift its head, despite the dust weighing down her consciousness. I, Kieran Shadowfang, Alpha of the Northern Mountain Pack, invoke the ancient right of claiming. I take full responsibility for Sarah Moonwhisper, body and soul. Her crimes, if any exist, become mine. Her innocence, when proven, becomes my vindication. I claim her before the goddess and before this assembly. She is mine to protect, mine to judge, mine to keep. His voice rings across the amphitheater, and the words settle into Sarah's bones like a brand. From this moment until the goddess herself says otherwise, Sarah Moonwhisper is under my protection and bears my pack's name. Anyone who harms her answers to me. The world seems to hold its breath. Sarah feels the banishment dust inside her skull shudder, as if Kieran's claiming has disrupted its dark work. It still burns, still erases, but slower now, like a poison being diluted by fresh blood. You understand what you're doing? Corvus's voice is grave. If she's guilty, if any evidence proves her crimes, your pack will be cursed. Your she-wolves will lose their pups. Your wells will run dry. The goddess doesn't forgive those who shelter the guilty. Then I'll trust the goddess to see the truth. Kieran doesn't break eye contact with Sarah. Because I've already seen it. This Omega is innocent, and I'll stake my life on it. Draven is silent for a long moment, and Sarah can see the calculation in his eyes. If he denies Kieran's claiming right, it's a grave insult that could fracture the fragile peace between their territories. If he accepts, he loses control of the situation and potentially looks weak for letting another alpha challenge his judgment. Finally, he nods. The claiming right is acknowledged. Sarah Moonwhisper is transferred to the custody of Alpha Kieran Shadowfang, effective immediately. He gestures to the enforcers. Remove her chains. As the silver shackles fall away from Sarah's wrists, she feels the world tilt. The banishment dust surges through her system like a tidal wave, and she realizes with horror that it's too late. Kieran's claiming interrupted the ritual, but the dust has already done its damage. She can feel her memories starting to slip, not from others now, but from herself. Her daughter's name, the color of her cottage door, the recipe for her grandmother's moon tea, all of it beginning to fade like old photographs left too long in sunlight. Lyric, she gasps, reaching toward where her daughter stands frozen among the crowd. Baby, But the name dissolves on her tongue. She knows the child is important, knows she loves her more than breathing, but the details are fragmenting. 7 years old. Brown hair or blonde? Brown. Definitely brown. Like chestnuts. Or was it auburn? Kieran catches her as her knees give out. I've got you, he murmurs, and his scent washes over her. Pine and winter storms, and something wild that makes her wolf keen with recognition. Stay with me, Sarah. Fight the dust. I'm getting you out of here. My daughter! Sarah clutches his shirt, her vision blurring. There's a child. She's mine, I think. I can't remember her face. Please, don't let them. I'll protect her. Kieran's arms tighten around her. I swear on my alpha oath, I'll protect you both. He turns toward his wolves. Thorn, Asher, secure the child, gently. She's coming with us. To Draven, he says, the daughter comes too. I'm claiming them both. The child is innocent, Vexana protests. She belongs here with her pack. Her pack just forced her mother to consume banishment dust while she watched. Kieran's voice could freeze fire. If that's how you treat innocents, I'd hate to see how you treat your enemies. The child comes with us, or I invoke challenge rights and we settle this the old way. Right here, right now, and your mate's blood will water your corrupted moonwell. Draven's jaw clenches, but he nods sharply. Take the child, but hear me, Kieran. This isn't over. If you're wrong about Sarah, if even one shred of evidence proves her guilt, I'll demand Wereguild. You'll owe me a blood price that will bankrupt your pack for generations. I'll pay it gladly if I'm wrong. Kieran shifts Sarah in his arms, holding her against his chest like she weighs nothing. But I won't be. Sarah watches through increasingly hazy vision as two of Kieran's wolves approach the child. The little girl, Lyric, that was her name, Lyric, is crying, reaching for Sarah with small hands. One of the wolves, a kind-faced man with copper hair, kneels beside her. Hey there, little star. Your mama needs to come with us to get better. Do you want to come too? We'll keep you both safe, I promise. Lyric nods frantically. Don't take my mama. Please don't take her away from me. I'm not taking her away from you. I'm taking you both somewhere safe. The wolf scoops Lyric up, and the child buries her face in his shoulder, her small body shaking with sobs. Kieran starts walking, carrying Sarah up the amphitheater steps. His pack forms a protective circle around them, and Sarah realizes they're prepared for violence if any of the Moonfire wolves try to stop them. But no one moves. They just watch in silence as their healer is carried away. Just before they reach the tree line, Sarah hears Vexana's voice. Good riddance to bad wolves. May the goddess judge her harshly. Then they're in the forest, moving fast, and Sarah lets her eyes close because keeping them open takes more strength than she has left. The banishment dust has thoroughly settled now, and she can feel whole sections of her life becoming gray and distant. Her childhood, her first shift, the day she discovered her healing gift. All of it receding like the tide pulling away from shore. But she holds on to three things: a child's name, Lyric, a cottage with yellow curtains, and the feeling of being held by someone who smells like winter storms, who looked at her in the amphitheater like she mattered, like she was worth starting a war for. Sarah Moonwhisper. That's her name. She repeats it in her mind like a prayer. Sarah Moonwhisper. Healer. Mother. Innocent. She won't let the dust take those truths, not while there's breath in her body and fight in her wolf. Even if she can't remember why they matter, she knows with bone-deep certainty that they do. Consciousness returns slowly, like surfacing from deep water. Sarah becomes aware of softness beneath her, a real bed, not the stone floor of a cell. She smells herbs, the clean scent of mountain air, and something cooking that makes her stomach clench with hunger. Her head throbs where the banishment dust settled, a dull ache behind her eyes like the aftermath of crying. She opens her eyes to find herself in a cabin made of rough-hewn logs and stone. Sunlight streams through windows framed with carved shutters, and she can see mountain peaks in the distance. The bed she's lying in is piled with furs and quilts, and there's a fire crackling in a river stone hearth. And in a chair beside the bed, watching her with those storm-gray eyes, is Kieran. Welcome back, he says quietly. You've been out for 18 hours. Sarah sits up slowly, her muscles protesting. Her tongue feels thick, her thoughts sluggish. Where am I? My territory, the northern mountain pack. You're safe here. He leans forward, resting his elbows on his knees. How much do you remember? The question sends ice through her veins. Sarah closes her eyes and searches her memories like someone exploring a house in the dark, feeling for familiar furniture. She remembers the banishment ritual, remembers the dust on her tongue. She remembers Kieran's claiming. But before that, there are holes, blank spaces where memories should be. I remember being a healer, she says. I remember the accusation, the dust, you claiming me. She opens her eyes and looks at him. I remember you. 3 years ago, your sister, Maris. She was dying and I healed her. Something like relief crosses Kieran's face. You remember more than I hoped. The dust usually takes much more. You must have fought it hard. I had something to fight for. Sarah glances around the cabin. Where is she? My daughter, Lyric. Is she? She's safe. She's with Maris, actually. They're making flower crowns in the garden. Kieran's expression softens. She hasn't left your side except when Maris bribes her with sweets and stories. She loves you fiercely, Sarah. The relief is dizzying. Can I see her? Soon. First, we need to talk about what happens next. Kieran stands and walks to the window, his back to her. Even in simple clothes, a worn shirt and leather pants, he radiates authority, the kind of power that doesn't need to be announced because everyone can feel it in their bones. The banishment dust didn't complete its work, but it did enough damage. The Moonfire Pack will have already forgotten you. If you tried to return, they wouldn't recognize you. You'd be a stranger to them, including your daughter. He turns back to face her. But because I claimed you before the dust finished, you retain your identity. You know who you are, even if they don't. Sarah absorbs this. So I'm homeless, packless, a ghost who remembers being real. Not packless. You're Shadowfang now. Kieran's voice is firm. My claiming wasn't just theater, Sarah. It was an oath. You and Lyric are under my protection, and you'll remain so for as long as you want. You have a place here, both of you. Why? The question bursts out before she can stop it. Why would you risk so much for me? Debt of gratitude doesn't explain claiming me in front of the entire Moonfire Pack. You could have just negotiated for my release. Instead, you made yourself responsible for crimes you can't be sure I didn't commit. Kieran is quiet for a long moment, his gaze holding hers. Do you really not know? No. 3 years ago, when you healed Maris, you did something no other healer had even attempted. You literally poured your life force into her, held her together with your own essence when her wolf was too shattered to survive alone. Do you remember what you said to me when I tried to stop you? When I told you that you'd kill yourself if you didn't let her go? Sarah searches her patchy memories and finds it, distant but intact. I said that sometimes love means choosing to burn yourself up if it means keeping someone else's light alive. Yes. Kieran's voice goes rough. And I watched you nearly die to save my sister, someone you barely knew. You did it because that's who you are. A healer who values every life, even at the cost of your own. He takes a step closer. When I saw you in that amphitheater, accused of poisoning pups, of cursing fertility, I didn't need evidence to know it was a lie. Because the Sarah who nearly destroyed herself to save one life would never, never harm the innocent. Tears prick Sarah's eyes. But you couldn't have known for certain. What if you were wrong? What if I had somehow... I wasn't wrong. Kieran crosses the distance between them and crouches beside the bed so they're eye level. And I'll prove it. I have wolves investigating what really happened to that moonwell. We're going to find the truth, Sarah. We're going to clear your name. And if you can't? His jaw sets. Then we'll build you a new name, a new life, here, with us. He reaches out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and takes her hand. His palm is warm and calloused, and the touch sends a shiver through her that has nothing to do with cold. But I don't think it'll come to that. Someone framed you and framed you sloppily. They got sloppy because they didn't expect anyone to question the Luna. That arrogance will be their downfall. A knock at the door interrupts them, and a moment later, a small figure barrels into the room. "Mama!" Lyric launches herself at the bed, and Sarah catches her, pulling her daughter against her chest. The little girl smells like sunshine and flowers, and she's solid and real and alive. Sarah buries her face in her daughter's hair and lets herself cry. Lets herself feel the terror of how close she came to losing this. "You scared me," Lyric whispers. "You were sleeping, and Mara said you needed to rest, but I thought maybe you wouldn't wake up." "I'm here, baby. I'm right here." Sarah pulls back enough to look at her daughter's face. Brown eyes, warm as honey, a dusting of freckles across her nose, a gap in her front teeth from where she lost one last month. Last month? Sarah remembers. Thank the goddess, she still remembers. A woman appears in the doorway, tall and graceful with Kieran's same storm gray eyes. Maris. She's healthy now, vibrant, no trace of the death pallor Sarah remembers. "Sorry," Maris says with a smile. "I told her to wait, but patience isn't exactly Lyric's strong suit." "It's okay." Sarah manages a watery smile. "Thank you for watching her, for keeping her safe." "It's the least I could do." Maris's expression turns serious. "You saved my life, Sarah. I owe you everything. If I can repay even a fraction of that debt by caring for your daughter, it would be an honor." Kieran stands. "I'll let you rest. Maris, can you show Sarah where everything is? And Lyric, I think the kitchen might have some honey cakes. Want to help me find them?" Lyric looks torn between staying with her mother and the lure of honey cakes. Sarah makes the decision for her. "Go with Alpha Kieran, sweetheart. I'll be right here when you get back." The little girl nods and takes Kieran's offered hand, and Sarah watches them leave. The ease between them surprises her. Lyric, who's usually shy around strangers, walks beside the powerful Alpha like they're old friends. "He's good with her," Maris says, settling into the chair Kieran vacated. "She was terrified when we first arrived, kept asking if the dust was going to make you disappear." Kieran spent 3 hours sitting with her, telling her stories about his own childhood, promising her that you were safe and that he'd protect you both. By the end, she'd fallen asleep in his lap. The image does something strange to Sarah's chest. He didn't have to do all this. That's who Kieran is. Maris's smile is fond. He sees injustice, and he has to fix it. It's what drove him to leave the Moonfire Pack and forge his own territory. He couldn't stand by and watch Draven make decisions based on politics rather than what was right. She hesitates. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you have any idea who might have framed you? Anyone in the pack who had reason to want you gone?" Sarah thinks back, sifting through memories that feel increasingly fragile. "I don't think so. I kept mostly to myself. I healed, I raised Lyric, I served the pack. I never competed for status or tried to make enemies." "What about Luna Vexana? When did she join the pack?" "About 4 months ago. She and Draven were fated mates, or at least that's what she claimed." Sarah frowns. "The bond seemed real enough, but there was something about her I never trusted. She'd watch me sometimes when she thought I wasn't looking, and her eyes were so cold. Did she have access to your cottage? Everyone did. Healers don't lock their doors. People need to be able to reach us in emergencies. The realization hits Sarah like a physical blow. She could have planted the nightshade anytime. The cursed texts, all of it. But why? Maris leans forward. What would she gain from destroying you? I don't know. Sarah's head throbs harder. I was no threat to her. I had no interest in the Alpha. I never wanted power or status. I just wanted to heal and raise my daughter in peace. Maybe that was the problem. Maris's expression turns thoughtful. Maybe you saw something you weren't supposed to see, or knew something that made you dangerous. Sarah tries to remember, but the dust has stolen too much. There are gaps in her memory of the months before the banishment, holes that might have contained important details. If I did, it's gone now. The dust took it. Then we'll find another way to uncover the truth. Maris stands. Rest now. You're safe here, Sarah. Whatever happens next, you have a pack that believes in you. That's worth more than gold. After Maris leaves, Sarah lies back against the pillows and stares at the ceiling. A pack that believes in her. When was the last time she felt that? Even before the accusations, she'd been an Omega in the Moonfire Pack, respected for her healing, but never truly valued, never truly seen. But Kieran saw her. He looked at her in that amphitheater and saw someone worth saving, worth risking everything for. Sarah closes her eyes and lets herself imagine, just for a moment, what it might be like to belong here. To have a home where she doesn't have to be invisible, where her daughter can grow up safe and loved, where an alpha with storm gray eyes looks at her like she matters. The thought terrifies her almost as much as the banishment dust did, because Sarah has already lost everything once, and she's not sure she could survive losing it again. 3 days pass in a haze of healing and discovery. Sarah's strength returns gradually, and with it comes a fragile sense of safety. The Northern Mountain Pack is smaller than the Moonfire Pack, maybe 70 wolves compared to Moonfire's 200, but what they lack in numbers they make up for in cohesion. Everyone here seems genuinely happy, genuinely loyal to their alpha. And Kieran. He's nothing like Draven, who ruled through careful politics and calculated distance. Kieran leads by example. Sarah watches him work alongside his pack members, helping repair a damaged roof on an elderly couple's home, settling disputes with patience rather than power, making decisions that benefit the weakest members rather than the strongest. He's something, isn't he? Thorn, the copper-haired wolf who carried Lyric from the Moonfire Pack, grins at her. He's brought Sarah a basket of medicinal herbs from the pack's stores, recognizing her need to feel useful. I've served under 3 different alphas in my life. Kieran's the only one who's ever made me feel like I matter beyond my ability to fight. Sarah sorts through the herbs: feverfew, chamomile, wolfsbane root. Quality stock, well maintained. How long has he been alpha here? 2.5 years. When he first left Moonfire, only 15 wolves followed him. We were seen as rebels, troublemakers who couldn't accept Draven's authority. But Kieran proved everyone wrong. He built this territory from nothing, established trade routes with packs that had never trusted us, and created a place where Omegas and warriors have equal voice in pack decisions. Thorn's expression turns serious. He sees potential in wolves that others overlook. Like you. Like your daughter. Lyric. Sarah's heart clenches. How is she really? She seems happy, but I know she's scared. She's resilient, like her mother. Thorn glances toward the window, where Lyric can be seen playing with a group of pack children. Maris has been teaching her about the different flowers that grow here. Apparently, she has your gift. She can sense which plants have healing properties. Pride swells in Sarah's chest. She does. She's been showing signs of it for about a year now. I was starting to train her before everything fell apart. Before her world shattered. Before you were betrayed by wolves who should have trusted you. Kieran's voice comes from the doorway. He's dressed for travel, a pack slung over one shoulder. Thorn, can you give us a moment? Thorn nods and leaves, closing the door behind him. Kieran crosses the room and sits on the edge of the bed, his expression grave. What's wrong? Sarah asks, her stomach nodding. I need to leave for a few days. There's a situation with one of our border patrols. Possible rogue activity. As Alpha, I need to handle it personally. He reaches into his pack and pulls out a leather journal, worn and well used. But before I go, I wanted to give you this. Sarah takes the journal. It's heavy, filled with pages and pages of cramped handwriting. What is it? Your healing journal. The real one. Kieran's eyes hold hers. I had my wolves search your cottage before we left Moonfire territory. This was hidden in a lockbox under your floorboards. The journal Vexana presented as evidence? It was a forgery. A good one, but still a fake. Sarah's hands shake as she opens the journal. The handwriting is definitely hers. She recognizes the looping script, the habit of drawing little moons in the margins. And the contents are exactly what they should be. Healing recipes, notes on patients, observations about the effectiveness of different herbs. Nothing sinister. Nothing cursed. This proves I'm innocent. It proves the evidence was tampered with, yes. But it's not enough to overturn your banishment. Not yet. Kieran's jaw tightens. Vexana will claim we forged this journal to match her handwriting. We need more. We need to prove she planted the evidence, that she had motive and opportunity. And how do we do that? By finding out who she really is. Kieran pulls out a small sketch from his pack. It's a drawing of a wolf, a she-wolf with distinctive markings, a crescent-shaped scar over her left eye. One of my wolves remembers seeing a rogue with these markings near Moonfire territory about 6 months ago. She was asking questions about the pack, about their alpha, about who held power. Then she disappeared. A month later, Vexana appeared and claimed to be Draven's fated mate. Understanding crashes over Sarah. You think Vexana is the rogue. You think she planned this from the beginning. I think she infiltrated the Moonfire pack with a specific goal in mind, and you got in her way. Kieran folds the sketch carefully. While I'm gone, I want you to go through your memories. Write down everything you can remember about Vexana. Every interaction, every strange moment, every time you felt uneasy around her. The dust took some of your memories, but not all of them. Something you remember might be the key to figuring out what she's really after. Sarah nods, her mind already racing. And if you find evidence while you're gone? Then we present it to the Council of Alphas. They have jurisdiction over inter-pack disputes. If we can prove Vexana framed you, they'll force Draven to revoke the banishment and return your standing. He hesitates. But Sarah, you need to understand something. Even if we clear your name, you don't have to go back to the Moonfire pack. You and Lyric have a place here. Always. The weight of his words settles over her like a blanket. Why are you doing this? Really? Kieran is silent for a long moment, his gaze searching hers. Because when I saw you chained to that judgment post, forcing down poison while your daughter screamed for you, something inside me broke, and I realized. He stops, shakes his head. I realized that I'd been looking for you for 3 years, ever since you saved Maris, ever since you showed me what true courage looks like. Sarah's breath catches. Kieran. I'm not asking for anything, he says quickly. You've been through hell. The last thing you need is an alpha pushing his feelings on you when you're vulnerable. But I want you to know that what I feel for you, what my wolf recognizes in you, it's real. It's not pity or obligation. He struggles for words. It's like finding a piece of myself I didn't know was missing. The mate bond. Sarah feels it too. Has felt it since the moment he caught her when she collapsed in the amphitheater. But she'd assumed it was one-sided, a desperate Omega's mind creating comfort where none existed. I feel it too, she whispers. The bond. I thought I was imagining it. Kieran's expression transforms, hope and disbelief and something fierce all mixing together. You're not imagining it. The goddess has given us something precious, Sarah. But I won't claim you as my mate until you're ready, until you're healed and whole and choosing me with clear eyes. Take all the time you need. He stands to leave, and Sarah grabs his hand. Come back safe, please. I will. He squeezes her fingers gently. I have too much to come back to now to take unnecessary risks. After he leaves, Sarah sits with her healing journal and lets herself feel the full weight of what's happening. She's not just fighting to clear her name anymore. She's fighting for a future, a real one, with an alpha who sees her worth and a pack that wants her. And somewhere in the ruins of the Moonfire Pack, a false Luna sits on a stolen throne, confident that her crimes are buried. But Sarah Moonwhisper is done being a victim. She's done being invisible. It's time to remember everything. And then, it's time to fight. Kieran returns 5 days later, and the moment Sarah sees his face, she knows he's found something. He gathers his inner circle, Maris, Thorn, a sharp-eyed woman named Cassia who serves as his strategy advisor, and they convene in the main hall. Sarah sits at the table, her heart pounding, while Lyric plays quietly in the corner under Maris's watchful eye. Tell me you have good news, Sarah says. Kieran spreads a map on the table. Better than good. We found the rogue camp. He points to a location near the border between Moonfire and Shadowfang territory. They'd set up in a cave system here. Small operation, maybe a dozen wolves, but skilled. Very skilled. And, Maris prompts, and one of them was very talkative once we made it clear we weren't there to hurt them. Kieran pulls out a leather-bound book, its pages filled with names and dates. This is their ledger, a record of every job they've taken for the past 2 years. Mercenary work mostly, enforcement, sabotage. He flips to a specific page. And here, 6 months ago, a job commissioned by someone calling herself the Silver Moon. Payment, 50 gold pieces. Task, infiltrate the Moonfire Pack, eliminate the healer, and destabilize the Alpha's rule. Sarah's blood runs cold. Vexana. We can't prove the Silver Moon is Vexana yet. Kasia says, her tone cautious. But the timing matches. And look at this. She points to a note in the margin. The client specified that the healer needed to be removed in a way that couldn't be traced back to the silver moon. Banishment was suggested. Frame her for a crime so heinous the pack wouldn't question the evidence. They poisoned the Moonwell themselves, Sarah realizes. Then planted the evidence in my cottage. They wanted me gone, but they needed it to look like justice rather than murder. Exactly. Kieran's eyes are hard as stone. And I'd bet my territory that if we dig deeper, we'll find that Vexana's fated mate claim is as fake as the rest of her identity. She's using Draven to gain control of a powerful pack. You were a threat because you're observant. You would have eventually noticed that something was wrong with her. Thorn leans forward. So what's our next move? Do we take this to the Council of Alphas? Not yet. Kieran shakes his head. This ledger proves the rogues were hired, but it doesn't definitively prove Vexana is the Silver Moon. We need to catch her in the act. We need her to reveal herself. How? Sarah asks. Kieran looks at her, and there's both apology and determination in his gaze. By using you as bait. The room goes silent. Maris starts to protest, but Kieran raises a hand. Hear me out. Vexana thinks Sarah is neutralized. The banishment dust should have erased her from everyone's memory, leaving her a wandering ghost. But what if word reached the Moonfire Pack that Sarah is here, in Shadowfang territory? That she's not only intact, but actively investigating what happened? Vexana will panic, Kasia says slowly, understanding dawning. She'll try to finish the job. She'll either send the rogues or come herself. And we'll be ready. Kieran's plan is starting to take shape. We spread the word that Sarah is here. We make sure it reaches Moonfire territory through our trade contacts. Then we wait. When Vexana makes her move, we'll capture whoever she sends and force them to testify. A confession from her own hired killers, combined with this ledger, will be enough evidence for the council. Sarah's hands clench in her lap. The thought of making herself a target again is terrifying. But the thought of Vexana getting away with this, of potentially hurting other innocent wolves, is worse. I'll do it, she says. I'll be your bait. No. Lyric's small voice cuts through the discussion. She's abandoned her toys and stands at the edge of the table, her face pale but determined. You can't, Mama. They'll hurt you. Sarah's heart breaks at the fear in her daughter's eyes. She pulls Lyric onto her lap. Baby, I have to do this. That bad woman took everything from us. Our home, our pack, your friends. We can't let her win. But I just got you back. Lyric's eyes fill with tears. What if the dust makes you forget me this time? That won't happen. Sarah holds her daughter tight. Because Alpha Kieran and his pack will protect me. And because I will fight with everything I have to remember you. Always. Kieran crouches beside them. Lyric, I give you my Alpha oath. I won't let anything happen to your mother. She's too important. To the pack. His eyes meet Sarah's. And to me. The little girl studies him with a child's uncanny ability to see truth. Finally, she nods. Okay. But you have to promise. Not just Alpha promise. Promise. I promise. Kieran holds out his pinky finger, and Lyric hooks hers through it, sealing the vow. It's such a simple gesture, but it makes Sarah's throat tight with emotion. This Alpha, who commands 70 wolves and could crush enemies with his bare hands, is making a pinky promise to a 7-year-old, and he means it. She can see it in his eyes. "When do we start?" Sarah asks. "Tomorrow. I'll send messages to our trade contacts in neutral territory. Within 2 days, word will reach Moonfire." Kieran stands. "In the meantime, I want you to stay within the central compound. No wandering alone. Always have at least 2 guards with you." "I can fight," Sarah says. "I might be an Omega, but I'm not helpless." "I know. But you're also recovering from banishment dust, and you have a daughter to protect. Let my wolves do their job." His tone brooks no argument. "Please, Sarah, let me keep you safe." She wants to protest, wants to insist that she can handle herself, but the truth is, she's exhausted. The dust took more from her than just memories. It took her energy, her confidence, her sense of security. And right now, letting someone else be strong for her doesn't feel like weakness. It feels like grace. "Okay," she agrees. "But I want to help. Let me prepare medical supplies in case anyone gets hurt. Let me do something useful." Kieran's expression softens. "Deal. Thorn will set you up in the healing house tomorrow. You can organize our supplies and train anyone who wants to learn basic first aid. Keep your skills sharp." It's a compromise and they both know it, but it's enough. That night, after Lyric falls asleep in the bed they share, Sarah lies awake and watches moonlight paint patterns on the ceiling. She can hear wolves moving outside, the night patrol changing shifts. Somewhere in the forest, an owl calls. Everything here feels different from the Moonfire Pack. Safer, more honest. A soft knock at the door makes her sit up. "Come in." Kieran enters, carrying 2 mugs of something that smells like honey and herbs. "Thought you might be having trouble sleeping. Maris made her special tea. It helps with anxiety." "You're not supposed to be in my room alone," Sarah says, but she's smiling. "Pack propriety and all that." "I'm the alpha. I make the rules." But he leaves the door cracked open, respecting the unspoken boundaries between them. He hands her a mug and sits in the chair by the window. "How are you, really? Not the brave face you put on for Lyric. Really." Sarah sips the tea. It's sweet and calming, warmth spreading through her chest. "I'm terrified. I keep thinking about what Vexana did, how easily she destroyed my life. What if we can't prove she's behind this? What if the council doesn't believe us?" "Then we'll find another way." Kieran's voice is certain. "I told you I'd clear your name, and I meant it. But more than that, I meant what I said before. You don't have to go back to the Moonfire Pack, Sarah. Even if your name is cleared, even if Draven himself begs you to return, you have a choice. You can stay here, build a new life, with me, if you want that." Sarah's hands tremble slightly around the mug. "The mate bond." "The mate bond," he agrees. "I feel it every time I'm near you. My wolf recognizes yours, but I need you to know that I don't expect you to accept it just because fate says we're meant to be together. You've had too many choices stolen from you. I won't steal another one." "What if I want to choose you?" The words slip out before Sarah can stop them. "What if I've been feeling this pull between us and I'm tired of pretending it's not there?" Kieran goes very still. "Then I'd ask you to wait until all this is over. Until you're safe and your name is cleared, and you can make that choice with a clear head." His eyes gleam in the moonlight. "Because when you choose me, Sarah, I want you to be absolutely certain. I want you to choose me knowing that I'll fight for you, protect you, cherish you for the rest of our lives. I want you to choose me because you can't imagine choosing anyone else." The intensity in his voice steals her breath. "And if I already can't imagine choosing anyone else?" He's across the room in 3 strides, kneeling beside her bed, his hands framing her face with exquisite gentleness. "Then when this is over, when you're safe and whole and free, I'm going to court you properly. I'm going to show you every single day how precious you are to me. And then I'm going to ask you to be my mate, my Luna, my partner in everything." Sarah leans into his touch, closing her eyes. "That sounds perfect." "It will be." He presses his forehead to hers, and for a moment they just breathe together, drawing comfort from each other's presence. "Sleep now. Tomorrow we start planning. And Sarah?" "Yes?" Promise, I'll keep you safe." She laughs, the sound watery but real. Promise. After he leaves, Sarah finishes her tea and lies back down. For the first time since the banishment, she lets herself hope. Not just for justice or clearing her name, but for something more. For a future where she's not just surviving, but thriving. Where she's valued and protected and loved. Where she's free to choose the alpha who's already chosen her. The trap is set within 3 days. Sarah can feel the tension coiling tighter with each passing hour. Kieran's wolves are on high alert, patrols doubled, every stranger who enters the territory carefully vetted. And Sarah herself has become the center of attention, deliberately visible in the compound's public spaces. They want Vexana to know exactly where she is. "It's working," Cassia reports on the 4th day. "Our contacts confirm that word reached the Moonfire Pack yesterday. There was quite a commotion. Apparently, Vexana went pale when she heard you were alive and well in Shadowfang territory." "And Draven?" Sarah asks. She's in the healing house, organizing bandages with Lyric's help. "Didn't seem to react, but that's not surprising. The banishment dust worked on him. He doesn't remember you." Cassia's expression is sympathetic. "The entire pack has forgotten you except for Vexana. Because she knew the dust wasn't supposed to complete its work. She knows you're still a threat." Sarah's hands still on the bandages. The thought of Draven looking at her with blank eyes, of her former packmates seeing a stranger when they see her face, is almost worse than the banishment itself. But Lyric's small hand squeezing hers grounds her. "When will they come?" Lyric asks, her voice small but brave. "Soon, little star." Cassia ruffles the child's hair. "But don't worry, we're ready for them." That night, Sarah tucks Lyric into bed and sings her the old lullabies she remembers from her own childhood. Songs about the moon goddess and her silver wolves, about courage and hope and love that transcends death. "Mama?" Lyric's eyes are already heavy with sleep. "When this is over, can we stay here? I like it here. Maris is teaching me about flowers, and Thorin lets me help feed the horses, and Alpha Kieran says I can learn to track if I want to." Sarah's heart swells. "Would you miss our old pack? Your friends there?" Lyric thinks about this seriously. "I can't remember them very well anymore. They're all fuzzy in my head. But I remember you. And I like the people here. They're nicer." The banishment dust affected Lyric too, Sarah realizes. Not as severely as it would have if the ritual had completed, but enough to blur her memories of the Moonfire Pack. In a way, it's a mercy. Her daughter won't grieve as deeply for what they lost. Then yes, baby. If everything works out, we can stay here. This can be our new home. Lyric's smile is radiant. Good, because I think Alpha Kieran wants to be my new daddy. Sarah chokes on air. What makes you say that? He looks at you the way the princes look at princesses in Maris's stories, like you're made of stars. Lyric yawns. And he's nice to me even when he doesn't have to be. That means he likes me too. From the mouths of babes, Sarah thinks. Sleep now, sweetheart. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow we catch the bad lady? Tomorrow we catch the bad lady. Sarah stays until Lyric's breathing evens out into sleep. Then she slips from the room and finds Kieran waiting in the hallway. His expression is grim. They're here. 3 rogues approaching from the south. They crossed our border 10 minutes ago. Adrenaline spikes through Sarah's system. Are you sure they're here for me? They're moving directly toward the compound, and they're being sloppy about it, like they want to be seen. Kieran's jaw clenches. It's a distraction. I'd bet my life there's another team coming from a different direction. So what do? We split our forces. Half will engage the obvious threat. The other half will guard you and lay a trap for whoever's really coming. He meets her eyes. This is it, Sarah. Are you ready? She thinks about Lyric sleeping peacefully in the next room, about the life they could build here if this works, about the Alpha standing before her who's risked everything to prove her innocence. I'm ready. The next hour passes in tense silence. Sarah waits in the healing house, surrounded by Kieran's best warriors. Thorn stands by the door, his expression focused. Cassia watches from a window, her keen eyes scanning the forest, and Kieran himself paces like a caged wolf, his protective instincts warring with his tactical mind. There. Cassia's voice is barely a whisper. Movement in the tree line. 2 figures. No, 3. They're good. I almost missed them. Positions, Kieran orders, and his wolves melt into strategic locations around the room. To Sarah, he says, stay visible by the window. Let them see you. When they make their move, drop to the floor and let us handle it. Sarah moves to the window, her heart hammering. In the moonlight, she can just make out shapes moving through the trees. Professional. Deadly. Coming for her. Then one of them steps into a patch of moonlight, and Sarah's breath catches. It's not a rogue mercenary. It's Vexana herself. The false Luna is dressed for battle, her face cold and determined. She's flanked by 2 large males, but she's clearly the one in charge, and she's staring directly at the healing house, directly at Sarah, with murder in her eyes. She came herself, Sarah whispers. Why would she risk that? Because she's desperate. Kieran's voice is granite. She knows we're onto her. This is her last chance to eliminate the evidence before it destroys her. Vexana and her companions approach the healing house door. They're not even trying to be subtle now. Vexana raises her hand to knock, and Kieran nods to Thorn. The door swings open. Vexana stands framed in the doorway, her face shifting from confident to shocked as she realizes she's walked into a trap. Kieran's warriors surround her in seconds, silver blades at her throat and the throats of her companions. Going somewhere, Luna? Kieran's voice is deadly soft. Or should I say, Silver Moon? Vexana's expression hardens. You have no proof. I'm here as an emissary of the Moonfire Pack, seeking to negotiate trade. Save it. Cassia tosses the rogue ledger onto the table. We found your mercenaries. They were very forthcoming once they realized we weren't going to kill them. Turns out they kept excellent records, including copies of the messages you sent. Messages that prove you hired them to frame Sarah. That proves nothing. But Vexana's voice wavers. Sarah steps forward, her fear transforming into fury. Why? Why did you do this? What did I ever do to you? Vexana laughs, the sound bitter. You existed. You were competent and liked and trusted. You had Draven's ear, his respect. Do you know how hard it is to manipulate an alpha when he has a healer he actually listens to? Her mask is cracking, rage seeping through. I spent months working my way into that pack. I used every trick I knew to make Draven believe we were fated mates. And it was working. He was falling under my control. But you kept asking questions, kept noting inconsistencies, kept looking at me like you could see through my lies. So you destroyed my life. Sarah's voice shakes with the effort of keeping her wolf contained. You poisoned the Moonwell. You killed those pups. And you blamed it all on me. Collateral damage, Vexana shrugs. I needed you gone, and framing you for the greatest crime a healer could commit ensured no one would question your guilt. The banishment dust was insurance. Even if someone did question it later, you'd be a ghost. No one would remember you to defend you. Except you didn't count on Alpha Kieran invoking claiming rights. Sarah glances at Kieran, seeing the barely controlled fury in his face. No, Vexana's eyes narrow. I didn't. That was unexpected. But it doesn't matter now. Kill me, and you'll never be able to prove I'm the Silver Moon. My death will be your word against a dead woman's legacy. Draven will never believe you. She's right. One of Vexana's companions speaks for the first time. Even with the ledger, you can't prove she's the one who commissioned the jobs. The Silver Moon could be anyone. Actually, Maris says from the doorway, holding a small recording device, modern technology that some packs use for important negotiations. We can. She hits play. Vexana's voice fills the room, crystal clear. I spent months working my way into that pack. I used every trick I knew to make Draven believe we were fated mates. I needed you gone, and framing you for the greatest crime a healer could commit ensured no one would question your guilt. The confession. They recorded it. Vexana's face goes white, then red with rage. You tricked me. We gave you rope, Kieran says coldly. You hanged yourself with it. He gestures to his warriors. Take them to the holding cells. Send word to the Council of Alphas. We have a formal accusation to make against Luna Vexana of the Moonfire Pack for conspiracy, murder, and corruption of pack justice. As the warriors drag Vexana and her companions away, the false Luna's composure finally shatters. She screams threats and curses, her voice echoing through the compound until a door slams and cuts off the sound. Sarah's legs give out, and Kieran catches her before she hits the floor. Easy. You're safe now. It's over. Is it? Sarah looks up at him, her vision blurred with tears. Will this be enough to clear my name? The council meets in 3 days. They'll hear the evidence, listen to the recording, and make their judgment. Kieran's arms tighten around her. But yes, Sarah, this is enough. You'll be vindicated. The Moonfire Pack will know the truth. And the banishment? The dust? There's a counter-ritual. Once the council confirms your innocence, the pack's memories will be restored. They'll remember you, remember loving you, remember the injustice done to you. He strokes her hair gently. You'll get your life back. But as Sarah rests her head against Kieran's chest and listens to the steady beat of his heart, she realizes she's not sure she wants her old life back. The Moonfire Pack may have been her home, but they failed her when she needed them most. They believed lies over truth, chose their Luna's word over years of faithful service. Whereas Kieran and the Shadowfang Pack fought for her, believed in her, gave her and Lyric a sanctuary when they had nowhere else to go. What if I don't want to go back? She whispers. Kieran pulls back enough to meet her eyes. Then you don't. The choice is yours, Sarah. It's always been yours. And in that moment, Sarah realizes she's already made her choice. She made it the moment Kieran claimed her in the amphitheater. She made it every day since, watching him lead with honor and strength and compassion. She made it when she fell in love with the Alpha, who saw her worth when no one else did. I choose you, she says. I choose this pack. I choose the life we can build together. Kieran's face transforms, joy and relief and love all mixing together. You're sure? You haven't even been to the council meeting yet. You might feel differently once your name is cleared. I won't. Sarah cups her face in her hands. My name might be cleared, but that doesn't erase what the Moonfire Pack did. They threw me away, Kieran. They took my word for nothing and believed a stranger's lies. I can forgive them, but I can't trust them. Not the way I trust you. Not the way I trust this pack. Then stay. Stay and be my mate. Stay and be Luna to the Shadowfang Pack. Stay and build a future with me that's so bright it makes the past fade to nothing. Yes. The word is a promise, a vow, a claim of her own. Yes to all of it. Kieran kisses her then, and it's nothing like the gentle claiming she expected. It's fierce and desperate and full of all the fear and hope and love they've both been carrying. Sarah kisses him back with everything she has, pouring 3 years of longing and a lifetime of dreams into the connection between them. When they finally break apart, both breathless, Kieran rests his forehead against hers. The mate bond. Do you feel it? Like lightning in my veins, Sarah laughs, giddy with joy and relief. Like coming home. Then let's make it official. Kieran pulls back and drops to one knee right there in the healing house, with his warriors still watching from the doorway. Sarah Moonwhisper, will you accept me as your mate? Will you let me spend the rest of my life protecting you, cherishing you, and loving you with everything I am? Will you be my Luna and my partner and the other half of my soul? Sarah doesn't hesitate. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The warriors cheer, and somewhere in the compound a wolf howls, the sound picked up by others until the entire pack is celebrating. But Sarah only has eyes for Kieran as he stands and pulls her close, as he marks her throat with his teeth in the traditional claiming bite, as their wolves finally recognize each other as mates. The bond snaps into place like a key turning in a lock, and suddenly Sarah can feel everything Kieran feels. His love, his protective instinct, his absolute certainty that she's the one he's been waiting for. And she knows he can feel her emotions too, her relief, her joy, her bone-deep sense of finally being safe. Mama? Lyric's sleepy voice comes from the doorway. She stands there in her nightgown, rubbing her eyes. Why is everyone being loud? Sarah laughs through happy tears and holds out her hand. Come here, baby. I have something to tell you. Lyric runs over, and Kieran scoops her up, holding her between them. "We're going to be a family," Sarah says. "Alpha Kieran is going to be your new father. Is that okay with you?" Lyric's face lights up like the sun. "Really? For real, real?" "For real, real," Kieran confirms. "If you'll have me." "Yes!" Lyric throws her arms around both of them and they stand there together, the three of them wrapped in each other's embrace, while the pack celebrates around them. And Sarah thinks that this right here, is what she's been searching for all her life. Not just safety or vindication or clearing her name, but family. True family. Built not on blood or obligation, but on choice and love and unwavering loyalty. 3 days later, the Council of Alphas convenes in neutral territory. Sarah stands before them, flanked by Kieran and his witnesses, and presents her evidence: the ledger, the recording, the testimony of the captured rogues. And when it's over, when the council unanimously declares her innocent and orders the Moonfire Pact to perform the counter ritual to restore their memories, Sarah feels something break free inside her chest. Vindication. Justice. Proof that she was right to fight, right to believe in herself even when no one else did. Alpha Draven is there, summoned by the council, and Sarah watches his face as the counter ritual is performed. She watches the moment his memories return, watches recognition and horror and shame flood his features as he remembers everything. Remembers her. Remembers what was done to her. He approaches after the council dismisses them, his steps heavy with guilt. "Sarah, I can't," he swallows hard. "There are no words for what I allowed to happen to you. I failed you. Failed to protect you, failed to question the evidence, failed to be the alpha you deserved. I will spend the rest of my life regretting that I didn't fight harder for you." Sarah looks at the alpha who once held her life in his hands and feels nothing. No anger, no bitterness, just a distant kind of pity. "I forgive you, Draven, but I won't come back to the Moonfire Pack. I found a new home, a better one. With Kieran. It's not a question." Draven glances at where Kieran stands with Lyric, the child chattering excitedly while he listens with a patience and affection that Draven never showed. "He's a good alpha. Better than me in many ways. You'll be happy there." "I already am." Draven nods and starts to leave, then turns back. "Your cottage, your belongings. I'll have everything packed and sent to Shadowfang territory. And Sarah, thank you for healing my son all those years ago, for serving the pack so faithfully. I'm sorry I didn't appreciate you when I had the chance." After he leaves, Kieran joins her, wrapping an arm around her waist. "Are you all right?" "Better than all right." Sarah leans into him. "I'm free. Truly free. And I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." That night, back in Shadowfang territory, the pack holds a celebration, not just for Sarah's vindication, but for the official announcement of her mating to Kieran. There's music and food and dancing, and for the first time in months, Sarah lets herself relax completely. She dances with her daughter. She accepts congratulations from pack members who already feel like family. She watches Kieran move through the crowd, checking on his wolves, ensuring everyone is cared for, and her heart swells with pride. This is her alpha, her mate, her future. Later, much later, after Lyric has been tucked into bed in her new permanent room, painted yellow at her request, with flower murals on the walls courtesy of Maris, Kieran leads Sarah to their private cabin. It's larger than her old cottage, built into the mountainside with windows that overlook the valley. "Welcome home, Luna," he murmurs, pulling her close. Sarah kisses him deeply, pouring everything she feels into the connection. "Home," she agrees. "Finally." And as they stand there together, looking out over the territory that's now theirs to protect and nurture, Sarah thinks about the Omega who was forced to swallow banishment dust, the healer who was erased from memory, the mother who feared losing her daughter. That Omega was broken by injustice, but not defeated. She fought back. She survived. And she found something more precious than vindication. She found love. She found family. She found a place where she's not just tolerated, but treasured. And she found an alpha who looked at her in her darkest moments and saw not a convicted criminal, but a woman worth saving, worth fighting for, worth claiming in front of the goddess and everyone. Sarah Moonwhisper, now Sarah Shadowfang, wraps her arms around her mate and smiles. The banishment dust tried to erase her from existence, but she's still here, still standing, still whole. And she's never been more powerful. Did you like this story? What do you think about the ending? Does it need part 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, tell us which state you're watching from so I can give you a shout out in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay updated on our next uploads. Thanks for watching!